I got a question to ask, and this is for the nostalgic hits. And when I mean nostalgic, I'm talking about the folks that's from this era, because there was a lot of consoles that came before, but at the same time, this was like, this is the era where, it's just, I don't know, it just hit. So I need to ask a question about this, because I'm just a big fan, and I always talk about this particular console, and this is where I kind of like, this is like my childhood at that point. Okay, let me ask you, if Nintendo ever came back out with a NES console, and I'm not talking about the mini, I know they did the mini, I'm talking about if they came back out and they created a NES console. This is just hoop dreams, if you want to say it like that. A remake of some new technology inside, and it don't take much for the NES. And they came back out with that original console that plays the original cartridges. We can say yes, they already came out with something like that because there's Nintendo Switch. Yeah, it takes cartridges. Nah. I'm talking about the classic. The classic. That's the reason why there's a difference between that, because the nostalgic heads will understand what I'm talking about. You guys will definitely understand just that classic console. That's just, it hits different. It's just like the Nintendo 64. It hits different. You know what I'm saying? So if they came back out with that original console to where it plays those original NES games, and they put NES games back in stores, and I mean the cartridges, I would love to go to Walmart or go to Target or go to Best Buy and see a NES cartridge on the shelf. That would be a dream come true. And yes, I know, okay, I'm old, whatever, it's fine, and I understand that, and I know that probably won't never happen. It's just fine, but it will be really awesome. And then have some online capabilities, like they said, with like retro achievements for people who's into that. And then also, if say for instance they do have the capability of to where that they can apply a SD card to where that they know how to do all the security measures to where there won't be no pirated games or anything like that, but you're able to go online and still be able to purchase some NES games and at a cheaper cost and stuff like that. And I just, I'm just thinking about that. So it plays the regular NES games, but the people that still wants to collect have that option that they can play those original NES games or their cartridge collection that they have been collecting. And I just think that it will just be awesome, because not only that, the games will go back in the stores, as well as the mom and pop stores of the retro community it will do really good. That's just my opinion. Okay, now reason why I say that, I love coming back to my original NES. My current NES that I usually play right now, I do have the top loader. Amazing. Those are pretty rare to find, but I do have the top loader. But this one is my Nintendo that I had as a kid. I actually still has my mom console I have with me, because I had bought her a newer one with the HD that plays the cartridges and stuff like that. So I kept up with hers. And I feel that the fact is, when it comes down to stuff like that to come out, I would just love for it to come out during the holidays, or at least close to the holidays. And the reason is, the fact is, and of course that we all settle down and stuff like that. So I just feel like the fact is, during the holidays, of just getting it from under the Christmas tree and just open it up, and that would just be so amazing to just, I don't know, it would just be awesome. Because I know myself, I would be like, I'll show wifey, and then I'll be like, babe, the original NES is coming back out, and this will be just so amazing to just opened up and stuff, and just like, and she'll probably just get it surprised on Christmas Day, and just the craziness of just seeing some games and stuff. I don't know, just to relive that moment. That's just so meaningful. So that's the reason why I just asked that question. And you guys let me know in the comments. I know, but when it comes down to nostalgia, just like I said, I love nostalgia. But anyway, I got this new case that I wanted to change out my original console to bring it into like a little bit of a new age. I know there's different mods for it, but I didn't really want to dig dig into it because, you know, I don't want to mess up my original console, but I would like to be able to do just a facelift of this old console and pop off some games and just kind of play some old school classic games. I mean, off the original console. So I got it plugged up to my monitor right here, and I set everything up, and I just want to just go ahead and just first I want to do this little facelift and get this all set up, and then just go ahead and, you know, test out some games for fun. All right. Oh, and one more thing before I say the words, stick around for the end of the video. There's some I wanted to show you guys, but all right, let's get started. What is going on, you guys? Your boy Famous Kid Video Game Entertainment. And before we go any further, make sure you hit the like, subscribe button. Click like, subscribing. It's always a big help. Let me pause and make this clear. This is not a how-to or tutorial video. It's up to you if you want to follow along. I make mistakes, and there is far better videos out there that can explain and break it down better than me. This is what I'm doing. I'm quite sure you guys might have better or even quicker ways of doing this. And if so, please explain in the comments. My goal for us is to all help each other, and myself included. Thank you for your help, and let's begin. I'm gonna do my best to try to burn through this, okay? All right, so we're gonna flip it over. Then there's 6 screws. That's done, okay? And I'm just gonna put my screws right here. I might use them later. Then we're just gonna flip it over, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and take the lid off, okay? Dusted. So right here, I am missing some screws because when I was younger, I had tried to play like fix it when I was trying to fix my Nintendo back in the day. So I am missing some screws on here, but in the case, I'm just gonna unscrew those little couple of pieces. But just like the ones I'm pointing at is the screws that's pretty much for the shield, okay? Okay, now that I got that done, we're just gonna pull off the shield. I might not use it. I haven't decided yet, so I'm just going to kind of put it to the side over here. Then we're going to take off these screws right here. There's going to be 6 screws right here, okay? Right here, and then it's going to be 3 more right here on the other side. So a total 6, okay? Now I like to line up the screws so I know which one is which. So I'm just going to go ahead, as you see right over here on the side, I got my 2 screws right here, but you see these 6 right here, I have them lined up so they will be lined up for later so I don't mess up. All right, so at this point I could just try to slip this out, just try to do a lift and try to just do a little shake and bake right there. All right, so right here there are some screws, a couple more screws before we take out the bottom part. So there's one right here, and there's another one right there, but it's missing, okay? But as you can see under the bottom, there's some of my screws right there that I was missing from me playing Repairman back in the day when I was a kid. All right, I don't want to forget my last 2 screws right here, which I had left right here. So let me just unscrew these for a second. Okay, now this whole tray should lift out. Now what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to attempt to take this whole thing with me, including these 2 parts that's bolted down right there, okay? I'm going to do my best to take these with me, okay? But I have a plan because I don't want to mess up like on the placement of the controller pieces, okay? And if you notice that I was trying to do Repairman back in the day, so I had these 2 pieces right here. They're really old, and I'm going to try to fix that. I'm going to try to make that better and try to fix that. So I'm just going to take this old tape off, and then I'm just going to put this, yeah, I'm just going to toss that. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and try to get that part out. Right here is 2 screws right here. We're going to try to remove those 2 screws right there, just right under the wire. Then I'm going to flip it over, and then there's 2 more screws under here because that's where the door is for the controller ports. Now once that's done, just flip this door open like that, and then the piece should just come off, okay? Here's the part about the controller. Remember I said I was going to try to go ahead and make sure that I don't mess up. Now if you try to go ahead and try to just stick it through the controller port, it's not gonna fit. So I just want to show you, just in case you wanted to try that out. I don't want to mess anything up. So in this case, what I'm gonna do, just so I can keep track of everything, I'm gonna take off the first one right off the board, just try to do a little pull, a little nudge. Then once I get that out, then instead of me pulling out the second one, I'm just gonna take this off, and then I'm gonna plug it right back. That way I can keep up with the parts. That's just what I'm doing. The second one, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take that out because I want to repair that one. So I'm just gonna pull that one out, and then I'm just gonna, yeah. And then that way it just leaves me with the other one. Make sure you know which port is, so that first one in the front, that's gonna be port 1. So just remember that. just in case you forget. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I will forget myself in some cases. But in this case, I want to try to fix these real fast. I mean, so that old tape that I was using, me playing Mr. Repairman back in the day, I'm going to try to go ahead and try to, like, you know, just try to fix this. This has been years, but I did get a new 72 port thing on the board, and I did that. But other than that, this stuff right here, it's been years. I mean, for real, this thing has been through it for, like, remember, this is my childhood console, so I pretty much spilled things and everything else on it, and it's just, yeah, I was okay. So I'm gonna try to repair this right here. Let me just wipe this off. I'm gonna go ahead and just try to dust all the little excess stuff out and get that cleaned up a little bit. Try to clean it up. And of course, when I always use that, I always go ahead and do, yep, right there. All right, let's go ahead and get a couple of pieces that way we can go ahead and try to, and I'm gonna get these right here. And these is gonna, and I have my heat gun right here, so that way we can go ahead and try to repair these two things right here. Okay, I fast forward a little bit, and as you can see, kind of repair those. Those look a lot better than where it was when I was younger with the little wire tape that I was trying to use. I mean, and it's just, this looks a lot better. I'm gonna go ahead and try to take off the front, this top part right here, plastic. It's got a little bag inside, so it should have all the pieces, I guess the stickers and everything else up inside this little bag right here. Hopefully it does have everything. And okay, so we're gonna go ahead and remove that. All right, so these are all little pieces right here. We got the two buttons, like the power and the reset button, but I'm not gonna use these two. All right, I want to use the original ones. I'm just gonna kind of clean them up and wipe them down, and then I'm gonna use the tray, of course, but I don't want to use a steel piece. I just see a lot of people that they say there's no reason to use it. I mean, in some cases, some people might, I don't know, but I don't know. I just I guess I'm gonna go with everybody else that be saying that it's no need to use it. So I'm not gonna use it at this point. Okay, so I'm gonna just put this to the side. Now that I got this part right here, I'm just gonna go to the bottom. I'm just gonna go ahead and try to place this board back up in here. Now remember my port. I told you about the port. So remember, each port is supposed to go like that front one is that first port. So don't forget about that. I just want to point that out to you. So what I did, I unplugged one, and then once I got the first one in there, then I just wanted to keep that one out, so I know that one is going to be that first port. So I wanted to make sure that I aligned those. Okay, so if you see, it's going to slip that through, and that way I knew that was that first port right there. I didn't want to forget that. Sometimes it's just best if you forget. Sometimes it's best to take a picture or something like that, because you never know, you might forget and then you might just mix everything up. So, and I didn't want that to happen. So now I'm just going to go ahead and try to put this board back up in here, slide that up in there. Now remember, I told you I wanted to kind of get the full piece up in there all in one. So that's the reason why all this stuff is attached, because I did not want to get like confused on trying to figure out what pieces is what piece and everything else. So this is just an easy, you know what I'm saying, reassemble. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these pieces back, keep those right there, so I can just put the thing on, and then I'm gonna grab the screws for these parts right here. Now remember, I want to use the original door. I was going to use the clear one, but I decided I want to use that original door for the controller ports. So that's what I'm going to do. Just give it that old school look of my childhood console. Now remember, I put this two screws back, and then now I want to put that door back. But now there's that back there, then I'm going to go ahead and put these two little screws right there. Now remember, you got to get the small ones. Okay, now the new case does have the two small screws, and I'm using the new case screws right here, so I think it should just do just fine. I'm just going to put those two back. Yeah, now that I got that back, now I can go ahead and kind of replace the board up in there. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. But in some of the cases, I might just use some of the new screws, and then I might just use those screws like for my old screw for the top. So now I'm gonna put these two screws back here. Now remember, now I got these extra screws, so I'm just gonna utilize them. So I'm gonna utilize all these screws right here, so I can just put those pieces back. Now I know that in some cases that these new screws probably goes for the outside, but I'll deal with that later on. So now I got the tray back in, and I'm just going to go ahead and put the screws. I got the screws right there. So that's all set up in there. Now remember the 6 screws I told you, I said I wanted to make sure that I kept those in place, so I know which screws, so I can keep all the placement of the screws. Okay, so I'm gonna put those in. Now that I got that, I wanted to make sure I give it a shake and make sure there's nothing loose or nothing like that. I wanted to make sure all the wires are in the front to where that it's not in the way of when I put the actual the bigger screws up up in there so nothing don't get messed up. Now I wanted to put this shield right here, but it's the clear one. But you know what? No, I don't want to use that one. I'm gonna go ahead and use the original shield for this back. I just think that's gonna look really nice to me. Yeah, that looks classic right there. So we're just gonna put that right there. All right, turn it over, give it another shake, making sure that there's nothing loose so I didn't mess up, because I do make mistakes. And then we're just gonna go ahead and kind of handle the lid part, or the top part. I noticed that the door is on the front, so I don't have to worry about assembling that. So I'm just gonna keep that there, and I'm gonna keep the bag on there so it can kind of stay in place. But I'm just gonna take off this side right here, so that way I can put these two little pieces right there. And then there's the screws. You notice the little tiny screws right there. I'm gonna go ahead and utilize those. We're gonna set these pieces on there. It should be the same thing, but just kind of test it out to make sure that everything fits right. Now make sure your pieces snaps in there, okay, and it's flushed in there, and nothing's like, you know, to where it might fall off, or if you put the screws up in there, it just kind of loose and stuff like that. So in this case, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to put the new screws up in there so the way they can all stay in place. So these screws right here, I'm just gonna screw them all in those little parts right there. But I'm gonna use a smaller screwdriver to where that I can get those pieces in there. So now I'm back to the other the bottom part, and now I can put the lid on top. Okay, awesome. In this case, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and put the screws. I'm gonna use these screws right here, that my original screws up on there. Now be careful with those originals, because at the same time the size might not be right. So just like I said, I'm doing this, and you know, it's up to you if you want to try to, like, you know, so change out the screws to use some better ones. But in my case, it worked out for me. I'm not really tripping. It took a bit, but it kind of worked out. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and take this piece off of here, and then now in my case, my console case did not come with stickers, so I had to take the time out and actually make my own vinyl sticker. It's not the best, but I was just able to just make something. Hopefully this will work out, because yeah, I was unfortunate that mine didn't come with the stickers, so I got a little cheap model or something like that. But hey, hopefully this works out. So this is a little bit bigger. I thought it might be cool, because I could have did it a little bit more smaller, but I felt that it was just gonna look nice a little bit, just to give it my own type of style or whatever that there is. But I'm just gonna go ahead and take this piece off right here. Awesome. Now there's one more thing I need to do. One more thing I want to do. I need to go ahead and put the feet. Now while I'm putting the feet up on here really fast, I just wanted to kind of show you guys our shirt that we added onto our website, basically stating that the fact is that we are against losing our physical media. So at the same time, it's just stating that we own nothing. This shirt is super duper awesome. We only got a limited supply. It's on the website. I'll leave links in the description. All right, now that everything's back together, it seems like that this console looks really good. So now it is time for me to go ahead and plug up this console and see if everything is looking good, because I like it already. This is amazing. Let's do this. Wow, this thing looks smooth, yo. Oh my goodness. And you know what I mean, and the sticker might, I don't know, I like the sticker. I think it's pretty cool. It seemed like it worked out, stuff like that. What do you guys think? I mean, it's not all that, but at least it holds up, you know, comparison to the original one that I didn't get in my order. I mean, but at the same time, it's cool. So now I got this thing plugged up to the capture device. I want to test out some games. Let's just go ahead and do some short versions of these games I just want to test out. All right, let's do it. Nostalgia is where it's at for real. And just to tell you, physical media, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, taking it back to the days and really just getting down on some real classic games. With that being said, I'm gonna be out, you guys. Oh, but there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys. Let's roll it. If you follow my channel, you know I love nostalgia. And as a collector, it is hard to find consoles and stuff. And your boy is on a budget. What if I tell you that I found the hookup for us? A spot where we can get directly from the Japanese markets like Mercari Japan, Amazon Japan, and 2 other Japanese retailers. I hope I didn't batter those names. Through all these retailers, you're going to be able to find practically anything you can dream of at a better cost. Yep, and we can now ball on a budget. They have everything from PC Engine Duo, Famicom, Sega Mark, and more. Check out this 3DS I found on Mercari Japan compared to this one on eBay. Check it out. Once you find the item you want, just add it to cart and pay for it. JP fans will then contact the seller and buy the item for you. Then it will be shipped to the JP fans warehouse, where they will send you quality check images to ensure that the item is real and the quality that you saw it before shipping it off. This is official right here. Get you a PSP for the low, or finally get some of the better cost PC Engine games. I'm hyped. The unboxing is coming soon. I left the link on my channel and also in the description. Oh, and trust me, I didn't leave you hanging. Using my link will get you $86 in coupons. Thank you, JP fan, for supporting this channel. And I told you, if I find the deals and hookups, I'm letting all my people know. Let's get hooked up. All right, you guys, if you guys made it this far, I truly appreciate it. All right, and from gamer to gamer, thanks for watching.